Hello, everyone. My guest today is Dan Moore. He's been a programmer since age 8 and Georgia Tech grad in computer science. He's now the product lead and CEO of VaporWare, a B2B SaaS product consultancy that helps entrepreneurs take their ideas to market. Using lean practices, they work with on a fixed budget, flexible scope project initiatives that help leaders make smart bets in innovation where folks don't know all the facts when they do get started. Dan, you ready to take us to the top?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So just to be clear here, you are not a SaaS company. You're an agency that does a lot of work on maybe MVPs or specific product features for SaaS companies.
Correct.
I see. When did you get started on this? Did you have your own SaaS company?
We founded as a C Corp in Delaware specifically, or S Corp in Delaware specifically to tackle our own SaaS problems. What we realized was our ideas were kind of shit, didn't work well in the market. And we ended up finding other people in local startup communities. So this was back in 2013 and fell into consulting because we were actually really good at building software. And then later on, 2015, I got more into that product management marketing side because I realized that that was a very hard problem, not just for ourselves, but for everyone. So product market fit is where we've specialized ever since.
Mm-hmm. And okay, got it. So you launched doing this and then realized, hey, you should just do this for other people and have them pay you sort of a fee. Help me understand pricing wise, right? So if a SaaS company comes to you and they want to have you launch, an MVP, are you handling design, development, architecture, information, all that?
Yeah, everything. So we work with a lot of people that have never done it before, and typically like brand new, getting to market, doing some manual MVPs or lean customer development, like you're talking 25K kind of thing, all the way up to existing businesses that have done this a lot and are willing to invest a lot more, kind of have more faith, maybe have done some of that testing with their customers already and are looking to scale those ideas. And so that starts at around the 100K level.
Okay, got it. So 25 to 100K sort of style projects, and how many customers will you work with at any given sort of one time?
So we have 2 pods of people. Right now, what we like to do is focus a month at a time on a single project. So keeping it that steady is definitely a challenge in the consulting business. So, but in general, we like to focus a single pod on one person, or one product.
Well, so explain these pods for me, because if people want to sort of copy your model internally, these are the people they have to go hire. So how have you decided, what is the most efficient pod to build to get your MVP out as fast as possible at a high quality?
I would suggest one product manager, and we actually split that. So that's myself between the 2 pods, but then one designer on a pod and then 2 developers. So it's kind of half product manager, twice as much of that on design and twice as much of that on development.
And explain the development. I mean, is it a front end and back end sort of combo?
Yeah, typically for new software applications, front end person, we recommend we basically have defaults, and then for all sorts of different scenarios, we can go off into different technologies and work on different things. But for us, we recommend front end JavaScript, React on web and desktop for like Electron desktop applications, and then on mobile you have React Native. So that one person that's consuming the API is directly correlated to the one person developing the API if you have a backend person. There's a lot more that we can do differently once you get into different technologies and all sorts of other stuff.
And if people are going to hire these folks full-time instead of paying you sort of a $25,000 to $100,000 consulting fee, let's just go through them real quick. What would someone expect in the US to pay for a product manager?
Probably where I'm sitting, we've gotten job offers from previous clients and stuff like that. I mean, you're looking at starting around 150K for that level of experience for product manager. So you cut that time in half.
What about that designer?
They're pretty high up there as well. So probably around 120, 130, something like that.
And then front end?
Front end's a mixed bag. You're getting a lot of people coming out of coding boot camps and stuff like that these days. But I mean, where we're focused on is really high quality, expert level people that have been doing this for years, way before React and some of these technologies came out. So it really depends on what you're looking for. But I mean, coding boot campers, I don't know. I've seen some crazy stuff of people while they're still in college accepting 6 figures for jobs.
If you were gonna build a third pod for your company and you were hiring a front end person at your standards, what would that be?
So our standards are pretty high. We look at communication a lot more than just technical ability, and being able to move and rapidly is definitely a part of that. So that expert level person, I'd probably still put out like 110, 120.
And what about your back end person?
A little bit higher than that. So 120, 130.
Interesting. Okay, cool. So the product manager really is the most expensive. What does the DNA of that product manager look like? Were they a designer at one point, a developer at one point? What does their background look like?
It depends. So I like to focus on someone that's technically capable as well. Part of moving so quickly is understanding. There's a great book called Range by David Epstein that talks about knowing a lot of different things and juggling a lot of different things at the same time. So from that perspective, like they could have a language background. They don't have to have a background in the industry itself. So we do a lot of different B2B industry work, and that helps you cut some of the research time down. But most of our clients bring that to us as opposed to us having to do that research for them. So it's really the skills on translating and empathizing with customers more so than anything else on that product management side.
Yep. Do you allow people? I mean, one of the problems I always had when I used to use agencies around the sort of size, 20,000 contracts, is it's always tricky. An MVP doesn't start and stop by nature. It's like it's highly iterative, and so there has, like, if you're doing a project, there's usually an end date, and the friction between project end date and you guys handing off the project to the internal developer at the company, it's usually actually a pretty high amount of friction, unless they just keep renewing with you to do ongoing maintenance. So how do you recommend people think about that?
Yeah, it's a great question. So the 25 range is definitely on the lower end. Where we've had the best luck with that is for software as a service companies that are going through some kind of incubator or accelerator that are looking to essentially they're in talks with the CTO, but at the same time they're getting pressures from their investors or other mentors to just put something out there kind of thing. And so it's a very early stage of the product. And the handoff is more on, or the goal of the MVP is always to learn one specific thing. So with that specific learning of here's the one thing that we're testing out, here's the one thing we want to know, it's not necessarily this graceful handoff that scales into infinity. It's a very quick and dirty kind of way of solving the problem. On the larger side of that, well,
hold on. So is the code useless, right? I mean, if I pay you 25 grand, I'm going through an accelerator, and then you deliver it and you're done, then I bring on a CTO. I mean, did we have to rewrite all the code?
No. So it depends on what you want to use it for. So one hand, why we named our company VaporWare is because to sell a product, it doesn't have to exist. So we're not building something that doesn't exist. We're building something that tests a specific problem. And if you're able to take the learnings from that specific problem, either through that code, like a front end side of it, but strip out the back end that maybe didn't scale the same way. So that's where that natural front end back end split is really valuable. So that's kind of one solution. The other solution is, maybe that solves a specific problem for one specific user set, but not for everybody. And so you integrate it as a different piece of a solution. So when we work with larger companies, that's where they typically bring us in for some kind of specific integration, test out a new market, and do customer development with some MVP feature set. And so it's not designed to say, yes, this is how we're going to take our this one specific product to market and scale it wildly. It's, is this enough work and is this enough investment to get the real feedback that we need from customers signing checks versus just filling out an interest form and kind of do a smoke and mirrors presentation or something like that. So it is to some degree designed to be throwaway in terms of, does that.
So you're a super expensive slide deck. You're like InVision, but it's actually live and it costs 25 grand minimum.
Yes, that's one way to think about it.
My preference would be, if I liked working with you and let's say I paid you 50 grand, I'm going to call up at the end and say, Dan, I want to hire this pod. I'm willing to pay him $500,000 a year. And you're going to say, no, they're my best talent. You can't have my pod. You cannot bring them internal. But I imagine there's a lot of people that's what they would want to do. That would be my natural instinct.
Yeah. And I think where we've been able to stay away from that is what we provide in a consulting company for our own employees is the ability to scale and work on different things and a very rapid environment that's different than if you were underneath one architecture and one product solution for the next year even. That's a long time when talking to a software developer.
Yeah. So when did you guys launch the agency? What year?
We officially launched in 2013, came over full time. So we took a really risk adverse approach, saved up money, had full-time jobs before then, came over full time January 2015. So we're now.
And give me a sense of like 2019, right? So last year, about how much revenue did you guys do and how many people?
So we were at 8 last year, did about 1.2 million.
That's good. So, I mean, a nice business, great lifestyle business, makes people, gives people enough freedom where they can sort of do what they want in life and get what they want.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like we had really strong revenue share programs. We all realized what this business is. I mean, definitely looking at other SaaS companies and all the clients we work with, it's totally different numbers game.
Tell me what you mean by that. You have a rev share program?
Yeah. So instead of like we have a bunch of odd benefits that you don't typically see in SaaS companies. So we stick to 40-hour work weeks. We did something for all of 2019, which was 4 days a week on client work and 1 day on whatever you want, which a lot of it was growing the business kind of thing and going after new customers. But and then the revenue share program, I don't have those numbers off the top of my head. We switched that. So it was essentially those 120K kind of price ranges for people. We were looking to see if we can attract the right kind of talent that is interested in uncapped salaries and bringing in more clients and being more a part of the core business. Essentially looking at like co-op models and employee owners and stuff like that, trying to come up with a solution to attract people that were willing to take risk with us.
So someone's listening to this right now. They've got some capital. They may raise $100,000. They're about to go through 500 startups, or maybe they got into a accelerator like Excel Prize, maybe down there in the research triangle even. And they say, you know what, I want to get a product together quickly. Dan, I'm going to be huge. I'm going to be so successful. I don't mind your 50K price point, but I only want to pay 20K. Can I pay you 20K and give you 2% of the company?
Yeah. So you're talking investment model. Yes. So we tie it to specific growth opportunities and look at it more from an investment standpoint. And that is the few times that we've taken that on. So last year, I think we did it twice out of the 20 or so clients that we were looking at. So about 10%. It was based on the people. It was based on as both the client people and the people inside of our company willing to take that risk. So
yeah, because you've essentially got it. You're guessing me as a founder coming to you. You're saying, is this guy Nathan? Is he gonna be successful? Will his equity be worth anything, or would you just stick to having him pay us $40,000 cash right now? And that's a tough thing. You basically become a VC at that point.
Yep. So it muddies that relationship, but it fits in well with our model because we're looking as experts in coming in to these SaaS startup companies or mid-sized companies as advisors as well. So we're able to. I mean, that's one thing that kind of separates all of our relationships from most development firms is we don't just build what people tell us to build. Like with that product management in-house, we're able to say, no, that's a terrible idea. Don't go down that path. What you want is this other thing, and we'll help you get to that learning in half the price. So
yeah. It's good stuff.
It's really focused on that.
All right, Dan, let's wrap up here with the famous 5. Number 1, what's your favorite business book?
Business book. Lean customer development.
Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
I don't know if he technically calls himself a CEO, but Simon Sinek.
Number 3, what is your favorite online tool for building your company?
LinkedIn.
Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
9.
Okay, and what's your situation? Married, single, kids?
Married, kids.
How many kids?
1 girl who just turned 1 and 1 boy who's about to turn 3.
Oh, wow. Congratulations. And how old are you?
I am 31.
31. Last question. What do you wish you knew when you were 20?
Ooh, I wish I knew I could get into business a lot sooner.
Guys, there you have it. VaporWare. For 25 to 50K, they will help you get your SaaS MVP sort of launched, especially if you're targeted on learning sort of one thing, or kind of think of it almost like a PowerPoint deck, but on serious steroids, because it actually works. You can actually sell it. Dan, thanks for taking us to the top.
Thanks for having me.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers, they try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company, or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them, and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.